One thing is I learned in the Marines, and I was in high level operation units, and complacency kills. Anytime we left Fallujah or Afghanistan, you're leaving the wire, we always had a sign up that said complacency kills. That was the last thing that you saw before you left the gates to go engage the enemy or go on patrol. Because once you get comfortable, you're stagnant. And it'll be that same day that you're on a mission and you're just like, oh man, I've been down this road 100 times. I've been on this patrol. We're going home in 3 months. Boom, that's when you're gonna take a hit because you're not thinking.
Next level, come and take a ride to the future where brilliance and power collide.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Next Level Thinkers, a charting new horizons of brilliance podcast. Terry Placker is not just a veteran, he's a warrior who's spent 8 years in the United States Marines, bravely facing the challenges of 4 combat deployments. His leadership is forged in the crucible of honor, courage, and commitment, values that shine brightly in everything he does. From the battlefield to the boardroom, Terry embodies the very essence of what it means to lead with grit and grace. In this electrifying episode, Terry will unveil the unexpected lessons he's learned during his service, sharing how he has transformed his approach to leadership. Terry passionately believes that in a world often shackled by conventional thinking, we have the power to break free, inspire others, and rise above adversity with unwavering purpose. So get ready with this inspiring conversation with Terry Placker, where Terry and I will dive deep into the barriers that hinder creative leadership and uncover the essential skills needed to cultivate tomorrow's trailblazers. Terry, brother,
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you here on Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. Man, I gotta say, from start to finish, I've known you for a long time, and I get to see your grind. I see how you carry yourself. I see the disposition that you hold in the community and being a part, active veteran that participates in veteran advocacy, and how you lead. Whether it's in roofing or anything you do in life, I always see you inspiring people to rise above the noise and help others amplify their voice. So yeah. I really respect you and admire you for that, man. So I just want to let you know that for sure.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to be here. It's always, when you gave me a call the other day, I was like, absolutely. I've got to do one of your other podcasts before, and that was amazing. And, a lot of people, they see you, but they don't really know what goes on into it. So you being a combat veteran, and I understand, you got the Bronze Star on your jacket. A lot of people won't understand that. But so with seeing veterans give back and do things like this is just awesome, man. So we don't have enough of it. So thanks for you and everything you do in the community. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome, man. Like I said, one of the most important things about you that I see is you leading. That you're leading from the front, and that's one of your mottos.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about leadership lessons and experiences. What was the most unexpected lesson you learned during your combat deployments that changed your perspective on leadership?
I could write a book. I might have to do that one day.
Yeah.
So the unexpected lesson I learned was you can't feel sorry for yourself. And I learned that real quick, as in, I went to boot camp and I was playing college football, then I went straight to the military, went to boot camp, went to infantry school right after that. Within 2 weeks, I didn't get a workup. Graduated SOI, and I was an honor graduate, so everyone was like, all right, this guy thinks whatever. And I was like, all right, SOI was cool, School of Infantry, and then I get to boot camp, get to the fleet, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines are like, we're going to Iraq in 16 days. I was like, what? Fallujah? Are we gonna do a workup first? They're like, nope, we're leaving. I was like, so I didn't get a workup. If you don't understand it, it's to train and get ready with your unit. I went there, checked in, got to go home for a week, and then straight to Fallujah. And I was like, holy smokes. It's not fair. And the whole thing, and that's why I'm so big on adapt and overcome and just things like that. And we'll get into it deeper because, when your number's called, you got to perform. It doesn't matter. The world's not a fair place. Nothing's fair. And I learned lessons before that, but in the military, that's the first thing I learned. Boot camp is whatever, it's structured. You go to School of Infantry, it's tough. But the hardest lesson that I learned was just, here you go, you're gonna get thrown in here, and it's either you and you have to protect the person to the right or left of you, and vice versa. They have to protect you. So good luck. It's just like if you're trying to learn how to swim, and when you're little and your dad throws you in the water, and it's like, come back to me. What are you going to do? Sink or swim? So.
Yeah. Where do you feel like you learned that you know you don't have time to feel your sorry for yourself attitude? Where did that come from?
Man, that came from growing up. Like I told you, one of my biggest heroes in my life is not this famous author. He's not Ed Milet, even though those guys are awesome. It's my dad. And, you know, my dad raised me when he's not my biological father. So he raised me since I was a baby, and he didn't have to. So from then on, I knew, like, man, if I could be half the man that guy is, I would have been something in life. But, you know, just from a young age, like, anything I wanted, you got to go work for it. Like, it didn't matter if I needed to do a pair of school shoes, go mow the yard, go pick up the trash cans, do something. There was nothing was ever given to me from a young age. I don't know what that was like. Everything has to be earned. So that attitude of toughness and resilience and just like, you know what, things aren't going to be fair, but you can have what my dad always taught me, you can have what you want and you can be what you want if you want to put in the work. So a lot of times I think back to that, but if I didn't have that attitude, I wouldn't have got through boot camp in the first place. So I really appreciate my dad for that.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think I remember you telling me that story on the Unfinished Business podcast, and I always thought, like, you know, in many ways that's part of, like, you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You gotta adapt and transform. Can you share a moment when your adaptability was put to the test, and how did it shape your leadership style?
Like overseas or just anything?
Yeah, in overseas. Or,
well, overseas, I mean, there's a lot of stories. You'll obviously get it because you're a combat vet. But, you know, recently, and I'm just going to be completely transparent with you, I had a bad injury that, you know, we talked about on your other podcast, like insane. Broke my spine in 4 places, shattered my back of my head. My right foot still has 16 screws and a plate in it. And I'm walking, talking, God, I'm so thankful God spared me. It's like my 7th chance. My dad's always like, hey man, everybody knows you're tough, go trying to prove it. I'm like, I didn't mean to fall out of an attic. But, so I get through the injury, and then everything's going good, make a full recovery. I'm doing podcasts, you know, I'm doing all these things. And then I go through some stuff where I start going through a divorce, and I'm just like, God. And the divorce thing, like, I wish her the best. Like that thing's whatever, that needed to happen. But I just have my little girl, you know, she's like my world. I'll go pick her up after this, so that's why I'm all excited. But my daughter's 3 years old, and to not be able to see her every single day, we're still in the custody battle. We're still in the custody talks and everything. So divorce is almost final, but to not be able to see her every day, man, it was just, I made a video on my Facebook today. It was just a kick in the teeth. And I really had to sit down. And while I'm going through that, then I transitioned out of another company to a new one where I'm so grateful to be here. And then on top of that, I started my consulting business. So I'm doing all these things. And my thing, I just can't sit in a room and feel sorry for myself. I can't. I was lost in a lot of things. Income is changing. You know, I had to get ready to have to sell my house, move into an apartment, and then, you know, I'll get another house afterwards. But I'm just like, all these things are happening. Then not being able to see my daughter every day. I'm talking about, man, you want to see a grown man come to his knees. Like, being hurt in 2 deployments, never, like I said, never cried. I didn't cry one time when I got injured. I'm talking, my injury was crazy severe a year and a half ago. But you know, when this all happened, man, I had to take a deep look at myself. And I was praying about it, and I was like, man, I forgot who I was for a little bit. And, you know, I'm sure he is a combat veteran. You have to dig deep and be like, okay, is it really that bad? I got air in my lungs. I got a heartbeat in my chest. I can think. I'm really good at certain things as far as making, like, business and teaching others and being a leader. I was like, let me fall back into that realm. And for a second, man, I'm going to be honest, I was feeling sorry for myself because life was just punching me right in the face. And I was like, you've been hit harder than this before. And, you know, with no test, there's no testimony. So you got to get up and do it. And as soon as I got out of that mindset and got right back into that mode of just being a warrior, man, everything has just started changing. And then, you know, I got a phone call from you. And I mean, you're on the outside looking into things, but you're not calling anybody who's not going through some things and coming out the other side. So that right there, I was like, Rush called me. I might be doing something right. But it was good. But that was, you know, out of all the things I've been tested with, battle tested and, you know, things as a civilian, but going through that divorce right now, thank God it's almost over, but not seeing my daughter every day and having to deal with all that, and then lawyer fees stacking up, it's just been crazy. But I took all that pain, man, and I harnessed it, and now I feel like I'm a stronger leader now than I ever have been.
Wow.
I'm talking on stages, I'm doing the thing, I'm doing podcasts with you. It's just, and I got a new position at a different company that is absolutely amazing. It's just, like the freedom is in the fire. My mentor, one of my life coaches, Adam Nugent, he's a business coach and mentor coach for me. He's always telling me the quickest way through a storm is straight through it. You know what I mean? So, everybody wants to go around it and do this, but if you just go through it with the right perspective, you won't be the same person that comes out. So that's my thing right now. Just go through these things, keep a good perspective, keep God first, and when you come through the storm, you won't be the same man that walked in it.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I got to tell you, man, and I'll say it, be 100%. Like when we did the Unfinished Business podcast, you were on there talking about new life missions, and you were coming out of your injury.
I was still in a walking boot.
And
I had to Uber to you because I couldn't drive yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I remember that. And I remember how hurt you looked. Hurt. You looked like you weren't doing well. And as we were going through the podcast, I could tell we were struggling a little bit in dealing with the pain and that kind of that whole trauma of going through that experience. I could sense it a mile away. And so fast forward to today, I see you, getting back up, you're healthy, you're stronger, you're more resilient. I see you going, getting a couple of new suits. I see you, working on who you are and getting stronger. And you're absolutely right when you say that I'm doing something right if Rush calls me. It's not really, it's really about just recognizing someone who's rising back up to the top, And speaking of which, I'm gonna save this for later. I want to talk about them suits you got and how important it is to dress for success in just a few minutes, okay? But I just want to let you know that part is you got hurt, and I see you today. I see you working. You're at the gym.
Yep.
Getting, and not feeling sorry for yourself, kind of thing, which is really, really awesome, man. So I just wanted to let you know that innovation and thinking outside the box. If you could rewrite a leadership book based on your experiences, what would be the first rule you'd include?
The first rule I would include is to understand that, okay, you don't have to start. You don't have to be great to start at something, but you got to start to be great. And I always tell people that it's not hard to be exceptional or stand out in the crowd in this world. And some of the viewers might not like this because most people think weak, and not like they're weak people, but their mindset is most people. This will only trigger you if you're that way, but guess what? You can change it. Most people, the first sign of adversity, the first sign of discomfort, or that something's going against the grain, or hey, this doesn't feel good, they quit. That's why people start their workouts in January, and statistics show 70% of people by February 1st, they stop their gym memberships out of the New Year, New Me workout people. So one of the things I would write first about is, you don't need all this motivation. Yeah, you do, but you need to be disciplined. You're motivated, you're gonna go do something tomorrow. I can call you and be like, hey, let's go run tomorrow. I still got the metal in my foot, so you can probably outrun me, but I can still go. I'd keep up. But if it's 57 degrees and raining outside, one of us might text the other, hey man, you wanna meet at the coffee shop and talk about this instead? But if you're disciplined, you're gonna do it rain or shine no matter what. And I think that is something big in today's leaders that a lot of people forget. You can tell who does it, you can tell who doesn't, but I think discipline will carry you places that nothing else can get you to.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I respect that so much because it does. I always tell them, when I first met my wife, I said, we're going to start from where we want to be, not where we have to be. We don't have to start from A. We can start from B and go to, we don't, you know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying, but if you're going to start at you're going to start from where you want to be. You better be disciplined enough to hold that momentum that you have in your pocket. So I agree with that 100%. In a world filled with conventional thinking, what strategies do you believe are essential to fostering true innovation? As in, I consider you an innovator because I see you, always working on your brand, working on your how you carry yourself and stuff like that. But what strategies do you believe are essential for fostering true innovation?
I will say this till I'm blue in the face, that you have to think about living outside the box. And one thing is I learned in the Marines, and I was in high level operation units, and complacency kills. Anytime we left Fallujah or Afghanistan, you're leaving the wire, we always had a sign up that said complacency kills. That was the last thing that you saw before you left the gates to go engage the enemy or go on patrol. Because once you get comfortable, you're stagnant. And it'll be that same day that you're on a mission and you're just like, oh man, I've been down this road 100 times. I've been on this patrol. We're going home in 3 months. Boom, that's when you're going to take a hit because you're not thinking.
Yeah.
You're being comfortable. And if you're comfortable, you're wrong. So complacency does kill. And people get like that in leadership and business and everything else like that. I'm always thinking outside the box. Okay, what can I do this quarter that I didn't do last quarter? Or what did I do last year in this quarter that was successful? Okay, how can I make that better? How can I make it to where I'm really big on like the Google reviews and building relationships, and every person that I meet, I want to leave a lasting impression like, hey, you know what? This guy under-promised and over-delivered, especially in the construction world, because, in the roofing business, people think already, they're like, oh, he's just like a car salesman. Not that car salesmen are bad, but they just like, oh, he's just whatever. Like there's so much competition, especially in Texas with that. So to separate yourself away from the pack and, to start where I did as just a guy knocking doors, trying to get an opportunity, to now storms hit and my phone's blowing up. But that's because they know this man is going to do what he says he's going to do. And, I still give every month charitable donations to veterans and like organizations, stuff like that. So I want to work hard. But, I feel like being innovative is thinking outside the box and always trying to surpass your best. Because once you get comfortable and you're like, all right, this works, I'm gonna do it. My dad told me one time, when the dogs are at your heels, that means you're leading the pack. So it's not hard. You're gonna get passed up if you just keep doing the same thing. You look at the NFL, like they may have a winning team, they're still gonna go draft some good guys, remove some people, put some places in. I use football analogy because I play football, but you have to keep evolving. Constantly evolving in business, leadership, personal development, everything. Like I said, going through the things I'm going through now, if I just sat in my apartment every day like I wanted to and laid in the bed with the covers over me, I would have lost everything, But getting myself up and being like, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to do this, you're going to figure out how to make business good. You got a new position in a bigger company. Now you're going to figure that out. Okay, now you're going to start your own consulting business. You never talked on stage before. Boom, this is what you're going to do. And it's just been good. But evolving and knowing, and then back to adapt and overcome. Yeah. You want to go do something, you better be ready. Because like I said, with no test, man, there can be no testimony. And who doesn't want to have a story to tell,
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's what I speak to, is seeing you think outside the box. I would say revolutionizing yourself into another thing, seeing you talk to your guys over at Swordsman. Is it Swordsman?
Swordsman, yep.
Swordsman's Roofing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Over there, I see you leading the pack, So I think that's what I speak to when I say this is what I'm recognizing, is that you went from broken body, in many ways, broken body, soul, and spirit, going through that, through those real bad physical injuries equal mental injuries, and emotional injuries. And now you're starting to get, now I see you like getting back up and let's take this on in a different way. And that's admirable for sure.
It was a lot.
Decision making and skills development. What role does vulnerability? Oh wait, sorry about that. This is the question I meant to ask you. In your opinion, what's the most significant barrier that prevents leaders from thinking outside of the box?
Okay, so this is the one that I see all the time, especially now that I'm doing my consulting. Other companies will bring me in to speak to their sales divisions. And one thing I see a lot of is, and I used to have a problem doing this too, control. So you see, let me say you see a leader and they just want to have their hands in everything. Maybe because they've started the business, because it's their business, that's their baby. And I get it. If you create something, you think no one's going to take care of it just as well as you can. In most cases, that is true. But if you can't delegate, so you can focus on working on the business instead of in the business, that is a quick downfall. And I like to say, getting stuck in the weeds. People, when I was at a different place and I was managing like at one time like 45 sales reps, like that will happen. You're trying to help everyone else because you're thinking, well, if I can just fix it for them real quick, that'll help them out. Then you get stuck in the weeds and you can't, there's no growth because you're just stuck doing so many different things. So I feel like once, it don't matter what level you're at, if you're a leader in anything, if you can figure out how to use the resources around you and help delegate things. Everyone knows Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever do it. He can't throw himself touchdown passes. He's got to have a Julian Edelman or somebody to go throw the ball to, or when he's at the Bucs, the Mike Evans. He's got to have someone to go get the ball to so they can go score. As good as he is, he can't do it all himself. And I mean, it took a lot for me to learn that. And I feel like all the best leaders, you do it. They're not in the front trying to be. Lead from the front is not about being in the front, like everyone, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. It's about you get in the front when you can show others this is where we're going, but when it's time to celebrate, you let the team go and you're the last one to come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
yeah, I just came up with some. If you're in the weeds, you can't lead.
Yeah, that is good. I'm gonna get that on my truck. It's gonna be a new slogan. We'll split the profits.
No,
that'll be a good. That'll be a good bumper
Yeah,
sticker.
I was like, man, we can't lead.
You can't get stuck in the weeds.
Yeah.
You can't see in there.
Yeah, no, that's so true, man. I agree with you 100%. Decision making and skills development. What role does vulnerability play in effective leadership, and how can leaders embrace it without losing authority?
Vulnerability is huge. It's like, example, it takes a lot of vulnerability for me to sit here and talk to you and talk to y'all and be like, hey guys, like no one wants to get up here and be like, yeah, I'm going through a divorce. I was crying a lot because I wasn't seeing my daughter, and then the judge got involved. Now I can see my daughter, and I had to hire attorneys, and I was crying myself to sleep. And some days I honestly woke up and was like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. I mean, I didn't like try to do anything, but I was like, if something happened to me, would anyone care? That's not a good place to be in.
Yeah.
And I can because someone may be watching this, and you may be going through a hard time and think that what is going on right now, and you just got to dig. I know it sounds tough, but you got to do it. You got to dig deep and be like, you know what? This is not how this story ends. You may have a couple bad chapters, but this ain't how the story's going to end. And, being vulnerable, me talking about things and opening up about things, and not like going on Facebook and airing out our dirty laundry, just complaining, but like truly sitting down with people. Like I consider you a mentor and someone I trust, like other people that you sit down with and you're like, hey man, I'm struggling with this. This is what's going on. And maybe they can offer you advice. Maybe you just need someone to listen to. Like I do my therapy now. I do all kinds of different things. But I feel like when you try to hold that all in and be a tough guy, and like I have a resume that would scream, this guy's tough. He's been through injuries. He's got multiple awards for acts of bravery in combat and courageousness and heroism. But when all this came shattering down, man, I forgot who I was for several months. I was hurting. I'm talking about hurting, man. And once I could be like, humble myself, lower my guard, be like, bro, you're human. First of all, you need to start praying again, because in this whole thing, you're just crying yourself to sleep instead of praying. And as soon as I readjust, because I'm a huge believer in faith and a Christian, man. And as soon as I rearranged my thought process, everything just got better. And I wondered, how many leaders are like that are in a leadership position? They constantly feel like, even you, like people are always needing something from you. And I always tell people now, because it happened to me, if you don't fill your own cup, how are you going to fill someone else's? Like if I'm drenched of dying of thirst, because I've used it for everyone else, and then someone really needs me, I don't have anything to pour you. But if I take care of myself first, not being selfish, but taking care of yourself first to make sure you're good for others, then if you want to be a blessing, if you bless yourself with things, not materialistic, but if you bless yourself with things, make sure that you're good mentally, spiritually, physically, you have the energy. Look how many more people you can bless and do for. But if your cup is empty and you're running on E, you can't help anyone else out, man. You're just stuck in the weeds, like I said, yeah.
Yeah, that is like, boom, man. That's a mic drop moment, because it is true. Like I agree with you 100%. You feeding yourself, and when we started talking before we got on this podcast, you asked me how my marriage is, my wife, how we're doing, and I remember thinking to myself, like, well, is your cup full enough to love this woman the right way? You know what I mean? Like, have you worked on yourself enough to actually get to a place where you can love somebody the best way you humanly possibly can? But I love that because I have a friend, Rhonda Williams, Rhonda Y. Williams. Love you. She's a great motivational speaker, and she talks about humanizing leadership. You know how you have to show that you're human. You know.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna follow a robot.
Yeah. This year at the Veterans Appreciation event is John Wayne Walding, and he's the first amputee to become a Green Beret. He lost his leg in combat. It was 4 hours holding his leg, still was fighting, got medevaced out, went back to sniper school, became a Green Beret sniper, first American Green Beret sniper amputee. And he talks about, I have all these awards, I have all these accolades, but I have the same problems that you got, you know? And humanizing himself was so important. And I appreciate what you just said, because I think sometimes we can get in that ego. Am I right? Sometimes in leadership, you can become an egomaniac.
But that's exactly what it is. And it's
Yeah.
just about, you don't want to ask for help, and then you don't want to you don't want to look weak.
Yeah.
And then, when I went out, just all the things I had just recently gone through, and I was like, I had a lot of resentment towards a lot of people, and I had not hatred, but I was just so enraged in here because I was like, how could people do this to me? How could this happen? How could this happen? Now I'm going through this. And then I quickly was like, man, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You want to go talk on stages? You want to go inspire people? You want to go show people that something can be done? Cool. Go through some things, come out the other side, and then someone might listen to you. And that, it's that ego is a killer, man.
Yeah.
Mine's gone for sure now.
So it's
Yeah,
fine.
mine's,
Maybe
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you balance the need for quick decision making with the importance of a thorough analysis in high pressure environments?
Okay. Now, that is a good question. And I learned that when I was younger, I wasn't really good at that. I honestly did learn that good in the military, because you can make a quick decision, but if you make the wrong decision, or you make a decision not quick enough, it's probably not going to be you that something happens to, but someone on your right or left is going to pay the price for that by you not thinking quick. So, people don't replace a quick decision with just making irrational decisions. So obviously, you don't always have time to be thinking, okay, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to take a couple of days to think about this, and then let me see what I'm going to do. Yeah, a lot of times you can do that. But sometimes, especially in business, you've got to make a quick thought, quick decision, quick choice. Now, what you do in that process, if you make a choice and it works, awesome. If it doesn't, you've got to be able to be like, okay, let me reassess the situation. I made a decision. Okay, this is going good. We need to tweak this. But it's just, and business is the same. So it's a constant tweaking. I could have people on my sales team at Swordsman, and I know that if I have, say, 4 people, these 2 guys, they are motivated by different things, like different bonus structures, this and this. These 2 guys, they're motivated by just they want me to come out with them and we lead the charge together after a hailstorm or something. Or everyone's different. You got to be a chameleon. You got to know how to talk to each different person and to be that kind of leader. So the decision I make for this group of people might not be the quick decision I make for them. There's going to be a decision made, but that's how you get to know your people. And in leadership, I feel like once you think that people are just there to work for you instead of with you, you're done. Yeah. And just like when I was from boot camp, when I was a team lead to infantry unit to, being an infantry squad leader in special tactics forces and stuff like that, I knew all of my guys. I knew how many kids they had, how old their kids were. So, you think about being in Afghanistan, we haven't eaten in 3 days, and we're fighting, and we finally get a little break, and you go up to, hey, Corporal Sherman, how's little Sanchez doing, man? And this is a true story. And be like, because I had my logbook, I'd be like, I think it's Tuesday, right? Because you're on the other side over there, so everything's different. He'd be like, man, that means awesome that you act like that. And just in the midst of the chaos, you get a day to get a rest and refuel before you go back out and push to the next fob. And just something small like that, you want people to follow you into battle, not only by leading by example, but just showing that you care and compassionate. And then there's a lot of leaders that, they lead people, and anyone on here watching this, you may work for somebody, you may currently work for somebody, you may know somebody that their leader, all they care about is numbers, 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 numbers. Nobody wants to go to work and feel like they're just punching a clock and they're just stressed out all the time. But if you feel like you're cared about, I'm not saying that you have to go like do everything for these people, but if you genuinely care about your people and the men and women that you're leading, that will help them be more excited to be there. They'll thrive, they'll make more money for their family, they'll be happier around their families, and everything will just come full circle. But being the person that's just, it's easy to tell who's in it to be sincere and who's just being a fraud. And that's just, I don't know how to put it any other way than that.
Yeah, that's epic. I mean, it's so, I love that, man. Okay, I got one more question, but I might save that for later on. I've been watching you. You've been going to this store. What's it? The place you get your suits from? What's the name of it?
Oh, Jay Hilburn.
Yeah, Jay Hilburn.
Yeah, it's at the Star.
Yeah, they're at the Star, and my friend Alicia Davenport. I think she started working there. I don't know, but anyways, so I wanted to see you. I started seeing you get suits, and I was like, shit, I need to go over there and get one of those suits too. Remember, I said hit you up, and I said, how important it is? How important is it? What do you feel about like dressing for success? Tell me why you work in it.
Well, it starts out with a vain response first, guys. Because when I was little, like I said, I never had nothing super, like, if I wanted something, I had to go work for it. Like, I remember I was so excited to get these new shoes one time for school, and my mom would drive me. I was a dishwasher at Golden Corral when I was getting ready to go to 10th grade. And then before that summer, I worked in Little Caesars, and then I had a job on the back of a trash truck where I was just got on the back of a trash truck, picking up the trash cans, dumping them. But if I wanted new school shoes, or if I wanted any kind of nice shirt or a Nike shirt, like back then it was a big deal, but I had to go work for it. So now I used to like to get stuff because now that I can get nice things, I like to. And I always said it like Deion Sanders said it best. Some people don't like Deion, but I mean, you can't take away he's a Hall of Famer in 2 sports. But if you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, your confidence is high, so you perform good. When you perform good, normally you get paid good. But with me, I like to be around. I like to feel like high level. I'm gonna be honest. Look, I got neck and hand tattoos. When I first started this business, I'm knocking on someone's door trying to offer them a complimentary roof inspection. They're looking at me like, who's this guy? I lost a lot of muscle after my injury, but who's this buff guy with neck tattoos trying to talk to us about a roof? Get out of here. And I'm just like, yeah, I probably didn't think this one through. But it seemed like the military, this is an awesome thing to do, to get all these tattoos. But, but dressing well and speaking well and they always say, don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job or the position that you want. And whenever I go get like a nice suit or anything like that, and I see, my lady up there is Tammy at Jay Hilburn. She takes care of me. Tammy, I'm going to need a discount on my next suit because I mentioned you on this podcast.
Exactly. I set you up.
yeah, I'm going to need some discounts coming up. Christmas is coming. No. But whenever I go get that, and they do the whole 9 yards. They give you the nice suit, custom fit to you. This is actually a Jay Hilburn shirt. And then they have your initials inside of it, and I'll put my daughter's initials in my suit jacket as well. So if I'm doing something where I'm going to go try to close the deal, I'm going to go speak on stage, or I'm doing something, I can always look and see my daughter's initials on the inside of my jacket. It's just a little thing I do. But yeah, dressing well, it separates yourself from everyone else. I had someone tell me one time, they're like, you don't look like a roofer. I was like, exactly. And thank you so much for saying that, because that's not the goal. If I'm on a job site, I'm, wearing what I got to wear, PPE, construction, everything like that. But anything I'm normally doing, I'm always wanting to look that professional role. And yeah, a lot of it is when you, like me, you got neck, hand tattoos. If I'm just showing up in a hoodie and shorts, they're gonna be like, that is not happening. But you take care of yourself, you are confident. Confident breeds, you're able to do things better because you're confident in yourself. The minute, especially in sales or leadership organizations, as soon as you show disconcern or an inch of, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't even believe in what I'm talking about, the deal's done. Your team's not going to follow you. I remember when I told you this on another podcast, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, when I was a squad leader, I would tell my guys before our first mission, when you hear gunshots, follow me because I'll be running towards them. That 20-year-old kid from Nebraska who just joined his first deployment, when he sees his sergeant do that, they're going to do it. They're going to follow what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you buckle under pressure, that's what they're going to do. If you're like, hey, we're going to go up there and we're going to take out every last one of them. All right, well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're told to do. We're going to go do it because he's leading the way. Yeah. So I like to try to present myself good. I mean, and to be honest, I just feel like who doesn't want to just look sharp?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people thinking I'm getting divorced because I didn't dress well. I had to throw that one in because that's funny. But
That's funny, man.
He'll probably blurb that one out.
There's no cuts in this podcast. No, what do you call it? No, I appreciate that, man, because it does. I think you're on point with that. You know, it does elevate your brand and your authority, and not only that, dude. It's like, hey, man, if it's like you know, I grew up in the same way. I grew up when you know, single parent home, couldn't afford anything, right? Having a polo shirt was like, that was the goal, like getting a goal. You go to my closet now, all I have are polo shirts.
Yeah.
You know, they don't fit anymore, but you know, I mean, they're, you know, I have all these polo shirts.
And you got the watch to match the,
you got the watch,
the
yeah,
J's,
the whole
I get
thing.
it,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's like one of those things. Hey, this is my life accomplishment, you know, kind of thing. So I respect that and I appreciate that. Talk to me about the Swordsman Roofing. Let's give them a little plug in this thing. What you got going on over there, and what your role is and everything with that.
Yeah, man, they're absolutely amazing. And you know, when I had parted ways, the previous company I was at, it was right when I was going through getting ready to go to temporary orders and get to see my daughter all the time, because at the beginning of divorce, it was just a disaster. I don't wish divorce on anyone, man. It's gosh. But so while that was happening, and then I separate with the other company, and then I had like, I don't know, 7 or 8 roofing companies reaching out to me because I like to think I'm good at what I do in business. And Swordsman, the owner, the CEO, Micah, me and him have become really close. He actually called me, and you know, you send in like, not a resume, but like, okay, we're talking. This is what I'd like to do to work here. Let me know what y'all provide, or how does it work? How y'all? Because every company is different with systems and processes and procedures. And he actually called me. I don't even know if he knows this. I think I told him, but he called me on my brother's birthday. So I had a brother who passed away. He's born in 1989. He passed away in 2013. He got hit by someone texting and driving, man, and drinking. So, but a lot of my tattoos are about military or about that. Or I got my daughter's feet on my chest right here. But he called me that day, and I was having it was a tough day. It always is. July 11th is a tough day because that's his birthday, and then October 3rd is always a tough day because that's the day he was taken. And so Michael called me that day. He was like, hey, I want to offer you this position. And I thought that was just awesome. And I was like praying, like, God, I need a sign. And for that to happen on that day, it was funny because like 3 other people called me the day after, and I was like, no, I'm good. And someone had called me the day before, and I just wasn't in the mood to hear it. But he called me on that exact day, and I was like, I got to go with him. And then when he told me what their meaning was behind their logo, and there's good Christian people over there, man, they care about their people. And it's just everything is like different than where I was, but in a good way. Like it's making me be a better leader. It's making me learn things. Like they do a lot of specialty and different things with just not residential. So I'm learning a whole lot of different things that I didn't know before. So they're freaking awesome, man. You know, they're big on what they like supporting veterans. Like everyone there, if I call and ask somebody for help, I get help. Or if I need something, they're there to assist, you know, and I'm hiring the kind of caliber of people that I want to work with me, you know. So it's just been a blessing, man. Like I said, at first when I was like, I know obviously how to build businesses and do things, and I was like, am I just going to start my own thing? I was like, I don't have the capacity and like right now to even think to do that. Like I don't want to be a one-man show. I want to be, you know, military thing. I want to be a part of a team, you know. So that's where I am, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I've been there since officially mid-July. So it's been awesome, man. We're doing some big things over there. We just got a new big office in Dallas, a huge building. So it's just, I'm grateful for it, man. And you know, like I said, this was one of the things where I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through the storm, and this was one of the blessings that I found in the storm with him. And it's just been good, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Let's say your brother's name. What's your brother's name?
Joseph.
Joseph?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, rest in peace, Joseph.
Thank you.
We love you here. Leadership, last question. What, if you could ask a question to one historical figure in leadership, who would it be and what would you ask?
One historical figure in leadership. Who would it be and what would I ask? So if I could ask one question, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I don't even know if it would be the actual leader, but I find it crazy fascinating and just crazy because I like to study battles and things like that. And you think about, I know that, and it's not just a Texas thing, maybe it is, but Texas is America, if y'all don't know that. but if you think about, like, this is going to sound crazy, with all the crazy battles that you hear of and things you do, the Alamo. If I know this is going to sound, you know how many times I've been to the Alamo in San Antonio just to check it out, but you got to think of this battle. These guys are, it's like the Gladiator movie. They're stuck in this, just church, and they're outnumbered 10-1, and they nearly win. And it's just, this isn't guys with M16 and sniper rifles and, Kevlars and bulletproof vests. These are guys with muskets, basically like shotguns that you have to crank up. And these guys are with pitchforks holding their own, and you got Davy Crockett there, you got all these other, these warriors there, but to go do that and understand, like, the movies don't tell it how it is. Like, they're facing certain death. Like, they knew, like, if you stay here, we're gonna die, or we're gonna die trying, But to have that mentality when all you could run, and you could probably go live a regular life and somewhere else, but like if they didn't take a stand to what they did, Texas wouldn't be what it is today, And if I could, people like that are, back in the day when, like the North and the South, like when they'd go to battle, or back in like the Gladiator days when they would just all that side get on that side, all of our side get on that side, and we're going to charge each other. That's not a good way to do battle. But you might want to flank the enemy, have some snipers over here, quick reaction force somewhere. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I've kind of been in that situation. But to just charge at each other, and because they believed in something greater than themselves, and they're like, well, if we do this and we win, our children's lives will change. My mom and dad's lives will change. Like, we can actually go plant. And they weren't doing this for the new car or a Rolex watch or anything crazy. They were doing this so they could literally have a certain field that's theirs they could plant food in. So, I mean, if I could go back and talk to any one of like those kind of warriors that knew like we're facing certain death, and I always tell people, when your why is strong, then the how is easy. But they knew like we have to do this or nothing in our bloodline is going to change. And to me, man, the bravest warriors and the craziest stories of heroism we're never going to know about. And that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome, man. Terry, I'm so glad I asked you to come to this
Thank you, brother.
Had to be a part of this podcast.
Thank you.
It's amazing to see. Like I said, I remember when we did the Unfinished Business podcast, and how fractured you were with the journey you were on to rehabilitation, and you were just out of the hospital,
Yep.
And today I'm so happy to spend time with you and learn more about you. And you blew my mind with the Alamo thing. I mean, for sure,
Yeah.
and everything like that.
people wouldn't probably think I would say that, but yeah.
No, man. I appreciate you being on Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. And thank you again, man. Brother.
Thank you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. As always say, have peace and light in you. Remember that the ocean refuses no river.
We're flying high, yeah, beyond the stars. Next level thinkers, here we are. Breaking limits, mind so bright. We're the dreamers of the endless night. Out in the galaxies, we're chasing the unknown. Ideas like rockets from seeds we've sown. Breaking through the boundaries, thinking on our feet. Innovators rising, feel that cosmic beat. Visionaries, pioneers, see the future clear. We're charting new horizons, no limits here. Creativity and passion in every move. With every step, we've got something to prove. Next level, we're reaching for the sky. Next level thinkers, we're aiming high. Pushing through the galaxies, no turning back. We're on a mission, blazing a funky track. Next level, come and take a ride. To the future, where brilliance and power collide. Get on up now. Jump into the stars with minds that soar. We're not just thinking, we're building more. Out of the box, we light the flame. Fueling the future, we're changing the game. Visionaries, pioneers, shaping all we see. From the smallest thought to infinity. Bold and bright, we're blazing the way. Creating tomorrow, starting today. Next level, we're reaching for the sky. Next level thinkers, we're aiming high. Pushing through the galaxies, no turning back. We're on a mission, blazing a funky track. Next level, come and take a ride. To the future, where brilliance and power collide. Across the stars, we rise and shine. Outrospective, minds entwined. Feel the pulse, the rhythm of change. Together we're shifting the cosmic range. Next level, we're reaching for the sky. Next level thinkers, we're flying high. Pushing through the galaxies, no turning back. We're on a mission, blazing a funky track. Next level, come and take a ride. To the future, where brilliance and power collide. Charting new horizons, we're pioneers. Next level thinkers, no limits, no fears. Get on up now.